Well, I hope you're ready because we're live.
Well, we sure are. And thanks for tuning in to this episode of Bits and Tokens.
Right.
Today we're going to be talking about some news.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff went down.
Oh, there's something in my eye.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
I
That's
understand.
how much stuff there is. It's blowing in my face. But anyways, let's get to it. So, first of all, we have the market. Have you guys been watching the market?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
So, Bitcoin. I went to sleep last night thinking that everything was fine. And I woke up this morning to find out that, in fact, everything was not fine. It's getting better, but yeesh. That's all I got to say about that. I saw some news, interestingly enough, about supposedly why this drop happened. And we're looking at, to right now, a 2% drop. The max, if you had super weak hands and got shook all the way out, a 3% drop. I took the day off. I just chilled out today. But anyways, there's supposedly some news regarding that this coincides with climate change or something. I don't know. We're going to check Sludge Feed, which is not my favorite news source, but we're still going to check them anyway.
Yeah, let's check what the sludge has to say.
So let's just...
It sounds like sludge. Climate change.
Let's zoom in
so
our viewers get a chance to see here.
That's like blaming politics on crypto.
Which was another thing that they were definitely doing.
Oh.
So the price of Bitcoin traded sharply lower on Monday morning, dropping over 2%, like we just saw, after a report in Nature Climate Change claimed that Bitcoin mining could have a significant impact on global temperatures in the next 3 decades. Very interesting. This whole debacle actually sparked a bunch of stuff on Twitter because all the Ripple people are saying that Ripple is way more efficient, and since there's no mining, climate change is not a big deal. Ripple for the win. They have a point.
There's so many things we need to think about when it comes to climate change before we talk about mining Bitcoin. There is literally a mine that collapsed in China the other day, like killing and trapping men.
A coal mine?
Yes, a coal mine. Like, what? There is so many things that need to be discussed in terms of climate change before we talk about Bitcoin. Like, there's just, man.
I hear you.
How about the cows that fart? How about the cars that release black sludge into the air? There's so many things. I don't know. People are just hating. That's my opinion.
All right, you guys. Instead of less Bitcoin mining, I say we increase Bitcoin mining, but stop eating cows. Just don't eat cows anymore. Less cows, less cow farts.
I think most American
science.
chains would disagree with you.
Have you ever had a Beyond Burger though? Fire.
I have.
Fuego.
I like veggie burgers, but unfortunately,
Fuego.
there's a lot of people who like meat. So
I'm sure if you gave them a Beyond Burger, they'd be alright. Anyways, so what I wanted to do was, now that we started here, let's open that up in a new tab and see what this has to say.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
So I'm just gonna do Control F and look for Bitcoin. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Bitcoin emissions alone could push global warming above
Nature.com. Nature.com is saying this.
Oh God. Looks like we're not going there right now. So apparently Nature.com has something against Bitcoin. Where did I find that? Trending. That's the only place they mentioned it. But apparently they're quoting that it could push global warming above 2 Celsius. That is
a statement. Okay, that's a whole statement. But why would that affect the price of Bitcoin? Like, I mean, it's so many. I feel like most people didn't even come across this.
I mean, here's the thing about Nature.com. I feel like if I'm a nature enthusiast, that's probably where I'm going to start. That just seems so official. Like, think about all the people that think that like they're investors, they care about money and all
But who
that.
came to nature.com to learn about Bitcoin? Like,
Who goes to money.com? The people who care about money, they go to money.com. That's literally a website. You know what I'm saying?
okay, but
So people
like,
who care about nature go to nature.com. Now they're making a big stink about Bitcoin, so all the Bitcoin people hear about it. Then the news picks up on it, and it's a thing.
I don't know.
The next thing you know, you got Sludge Feed over here talking about bingo bango 2 Celsius, and you know, by
that seems like a bit much,
2034,
but
2034.
we're not even in 2020 yet.
So it goes on to say here, Bitcoin is a power-hungry cryptocurrency that is increasingly used as an investment and payment system. Projected Bitcoin usage should follow the rate of adoption, broadly adopted technologies. Let's see here. Within 3 decades. Let's see. The research assumes that Bitcoin will reach 3.4 billion on-chain transactions, or 860 million daily transactions. So here's something to note here. These researchers are assuming that Bitcoin's transactions there's gonna be way more transactions, a whole lot more volume. Is that what I'm seeing there?
Well, of course there's gonna be more people are gonna jump on it. I mean,
So-
that's normal. Adoption.
So
That's
basically,
gonna happen.
the takeaway that I'm getting from nature.com is they think that Bitcoin's price is gonna increase. I love it. Thank you, nature.com. We're done with this story. Moving on. That's what I'm getting from that.
No, it's true. It's true. People are gonna jump on it. People are gonna start doing things more.
If they think it's gonna get worse, that means that they think
like if Coinbase has only been expanding, then what do you think? What do you expect?
I don't even think expanding's the word. I think they're like forming like the ill conglomerate. Like they're
like Coinbase. If anybody's paying attention to what Coinbase is doing, they're literally building like a whole they're building a thing. What was the word I used earlier? I forgot. They're just building a empire. They're building an empire of just different subsidiaries of things that you can do with crypto and blockchain. They're just doing every little thing that every other person is doing.
Custodies and trusts and this and that.
You got your pro, you got your this, you got your that, everything.
All over the place.
All of it in one. So that's cool.
That is pretty nifty. Let me just see if there's anything else good here. Anything else juicy?
Probably not, because I don't know what else. I don't know how Bitcoin and climate change. Like,
we got some cool charts here. I like charts. Charts are pretty.
So
here we have a chart going up.
Is this like the ACUs? Is this how the miners are affecting the climate? Like, where did this come from? What is that supposed to mean? What do those charts mean? Tell me what those charts mean.
This chart, okay, let's try to read this here. The temperature change relative to whatever that is, to 1860. Okay, so we're going back to the 1800s, and the temperature is going up.
There's literally so many things that affect this temperature. Beside, like I'm telling you, this doesn't make like the amount of sense this make. Like I understand.
Are you sure
that computers like generate a lot of heat? But like usually they keep the cooling places like really, really cold so they don't overheat for like that reason. But I'm saying like there's literally
I think what it is
planes falling out of the sky.
I think they're trying to say the additional electrical cost, because like the electrical plants, like they're putting all the chemicals in the air.
Well, yeah, but what if we go solar and we just use like solar stuff? I mean, you know what I mean? That too, like.
All right, so you heard it here first, folks. We're copyrighting that idea. It is what it is.
Come on, solar blockchain. Like, let's do something. Like, I don't think blockchain's really gonna heat the earth all of 2% when like all these like people are walking around with all this hot breath. Like, this is not like it just doesn't make sense. But anyways, whatever. Next story, MapleChange.
So, MapleChange exchange. Let's just jump over to their Twitter and see what they got going on. So it actually starts. Let's see where it gets juicy.
So I reported, we had put up on, what was it, Instagram, when we put up our stories. They had gotten hacked, I believe it was, and...
Let's start from the beginning, because this is juicy. So we can see here that Twitter is disagreeing with me right now. We can see here, October 27th. Our maintenance is officially over, and we have finished upgrading our server. Version 2 is now online and available for everybody. Enjoy our new sleek look, and stay tuned for future updates, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, so they were, like, updating their servers and stuff.
October 27th.
Ooh, someone left
Then
a bug.
October 28th. This is why it looks a little fishy, but they've been slightly proactive in trying to get as much coins back somehow as they can for people. We're gonna get there. I read through this today. Very juicy. So October 27th, we can see that they updated some stuff. October 28th, we can see that they sustained a hack.
Due to a bug. What did I say? What did I say? Oh, who messed up?
It's getting juicy.
Somebody
Hold
messed
on.
up.
Some people have managed to withdraw all the funds from the exchange. It got even worse. There were like negative values in some people's wallets.
My heart.
So this here says, we have not disappeared. We simply turned off our accounts to temporarily think through the situation. I don't know if that was a good call or a bad call, but it definitely looked super, super shady. It looked like an exit scam. And then here.
Well, I mean, at least they're saying something. Because if it was an exit scam, they wouldn't say anything. But like, you know, there's an exit scam we'll talk about in a second. But like, at least they're saying something. Like.
So now here they're saying that they can't refund any BTC or LTC funds. Those are just gonzo. And they're going to try to refund everything else. Please PM us with the coins you're missing, the email, the amount, and where to withdraw it. So if you're watching this and you were part of that, I mean, MapleChange looks like they're trying to do stuff, and they set up a Discord server. So if you were to, you know, click into here, this is going to open up Discord. If you've got Discord installed, I would recommend installing it. There's a ton of different Discord groups out there.
Where they can talk about their missing funds.
They did make a chat. They sure did.
Okay. Oh man, poor people.
So far it looks like LMO and CCX might be safe. Here they're just trying to say that the media is painting them out to be bad guys. We're the media. We're just reporting the facts as I'm looking at them. I don't know, you know. So they're saying the media is painting them to be the bad guy.
So the thing that the media is painting them as, and here's the thing, because you know you have your Telegram and your Coin Daily or whatever, and they tell that as is like, hey, they got hacked or whatever. But then like when it gets mainstream, people are like, oh my god, this exchange got hacked. But like, friendly reminder, you're not supposed to leave your money on the exchange in the first place. You are not supposed to leave your coins on the exchange in the first. That's like rule number 1. Wallet is rule number 1.
That's true. You definitely want to keep your stuff nice and secure on a ledger. They just went on sale. I think they're like $75 or $80 or something. I don't know. They were like some number of % off. They just went on sale. And the block box just came out. So the nice nifty new blue one just came out.
Yeah, that cool one.
Confirm that this one does work with blockchain.com as a lockbox. You don't need to specifically purchase the new one. It's just a nice, overlay to it. But get yourself a ledger. Keep yourself safe from this type of shenanigans.
Like, I'm not saying like this stuff is supposed to happen, but there's like a whole disclaimer that says do not keep your money here.
Right.
It's not meant for storage. But. It's not.
But the thing about that is, let's say, you normally do store your stuff on there, and they came back online after the server upgrade. You put your coins back on there, and the next thing you know, you don't have no coins anymore. I mean, it really was luck of the draw there, unfortunately, for whoever had their coins on the exchange. But it looks like they, as far as 15 hours ago,
Binance got hacked.
No, that would never. CZ would never let that happen. CZ, I know you're not watching right now. I'm gonna tag you and let you know that I said what an upstanding gentleman you were in this.
I never said that he would. I said, can you imagine like the
no. I'm just saying. There's no way that Binance would get hacked. Like, they're super on top of their security. They spend a lot of money on their security.
Yeah, I know they do.
Which is good. That's why I use Binance, which. I mean, the thing about it is Binance has the most transactions, like the most volume, like out of all the exchanges, right? It's the biggest exchange, the most users, and so you don't get those poopy coins that 200x and then they get listed on Binance. You know what I mean? Like, when stuff gets listed on Binance, don't get me wrong, the Binance effect is still in full swing. When a coin gets listed on Binance, it tends to shoot up, and then
shout out to Ravencoin.
Right. But as far as them being a secure exchange, I definitely rock with Binance. I'm not worried about that at all. If that were to happen, like, that would break my heart. Like, I don't even know. Well, I feel like I would lose credibility, because I mean, we have the link in the description to sign up for Binance.
Listen, man, all I know is you gotta be safe than sorry. But anyways, our Maple Leafs.
So it looks like they are currently preparing every wallet for the altcoins listed on the exchange in order to return them to the developers. Now, I don't know exactly what they mean by return them to the developers. Specifically,
Why would they
I don't know if they're talking
like the
about
developers
their
of the
developers
coins?
or that's what I'm not 100% on. I don't know if it's them or
Are you supposed to return them to the people who own them?
right. This is some of the action that happened on like this is crazy. Whatever this was, Bitcoin versus whatever KSN is, like that's crazy stupid volume that just
The following are pictures of the abuse markets. The first picture over in our peak, recovering back up. That was right prior to the attack. It was right after the attack, so it just that's crazy, huh?
cold wallet balance. Look at some of those negative numbers.
Oh
That's
my
crazy.
gosh.
Literally negative numbers. That's wild.
That
Wild,
hurts.
wild.
That really hurts.
But the thing about it is, and this is one of the other reasons why I use Binance, because these smaller exchanges, while it's great that, like I said, the things tend to moon a little bit more on these smaller exchanges, they're not as secure as the big boys. If you stick with the big boys, these things tend not to happen.
True.
And Binance now has the thing where
you gotta have some quality over quantity sometimes.
right. And Binance has that thing now. I forgot who they partnered with, but where they're helping to stop money laundering and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
CZ was just on Twitter today talking about something that has to do with money laundering. They froze some accounts because of the whole money laundering thing, and it's the part of the game he hates the most, but it's a necessary evil that they have to be able to
right
shut down. I think it was like a Wex coin or something like that. There was like a hack with that, and they tried to go through Binance to wash it. Anyways, let's see here. So XUN and SPES, Shield and
Having
DNR.
given to developers? Who are the developers?
I'm not sure, but
specify MapleChange. Like you guys are already like, come on.
let's see what the people say.
What are the people saying?
When KSN, how can I access my wallet? Nothing. People are saying nothing.
Yeah, nothing crazy. It looks like they're just slowly returning coins little by little for the most part, but that's about it. So they're not.
People are exchanged. They
Are you mad to refund the shitty, useless, worthless coins? What a fucking joke. Oh man.
Wow.
I mean, they lost their Bitcoin and their Litecoin. Those are the bigger ones that were on there. So I would be a little pissed too, to be honest. Like you lost all my Bitcoin. You lost all my Bitcoin.
So
but then again, it's not like
this is saying that sometimes some of the funds are being returned to even the wrong people. Oh man. Eliminating the minimum withdrawal amount, that makes sense too.
How about limiting it? Oh man, yeah, people are trying to pull out. I would try to pull out too.
Yeah, so they're talking about the developers of the actual like coins themselves.
Pass on to developers.
They're trying to basically say they're basically when they say like they gave the wallet to the developers, they're basically saying like, yo, please like revert these transactions if you can.
Oh man, like so they're trying to like back end everything.
Okay, so LMO, I don't know what that is, but it says to go to LMO Telegram to get info on how to get your coins back. So apparently LMO developers might be trying to help out with that.
I'm with that guy with the bit because honestly, these little coins, like the ones that are listed, they're not. I don't know half of them, so I feel that guy's mad. Like I would be mad if my Bitcoin was just gone and you're returning everything else, but what actually had a good worth. But again, you shouldn't keep your money on an exchange, regardless. Especially something that's small and like they have 200 followers on Twitter. I don't know how much people are on their exchange, but like
2,000.
How many 2,000? I mean, yeah, whatever.
So probably a similar number or less. A similar
number, right? So it's. I mean, how much can 2,000 people to run efficient security on a website like efficient security?
Just for fun.
We need efficiency.
Binance.
Different story. Completely
this is
different
why.
Story.
This is why.
You need to go to trusted exchanges.
Even CZ has more followers than that exchange. CZ killing the game.
Look at that picture. Look at that guy. That's a handsome guy.
Killing the game. CZ, my guy.
I like his picture.
Man.
He's so black and white.
Killing the game.
He's a Blasian Asian.
Let me see. So
That's cool, though.
here's that thing. Just really briefly, here's that thing I was talking about earlier. So I'm not gonna go through this whole thing here. So MapleChange, and then this guy said, "You think this is bad? Check out the situation with Wex." And then he says here that the Wex wallets are moving funds through Binance, meaning Binance is potentially helping launder millions of dollars worth of stolen funds from Wex users.
Ooh,
we have proof too.
Allegations.
Trying to throw the allegations around, trying to be fudzy. But then my guy CZ comes over here and says the identified accounts are frozen. Please report to law enforcement. I have a case number. We will work with law enforcement. This is the part of centralization we hate too. Dealing with other exchanges mess. And then he said we don't even know the details, but we will do what we can.
Dealing with other exchanges mess.
You feel me?
What?
This is what I'm talking about. CZ is that guy. Anyways.
Cool guy.
The next story was about the Chinese courts classifying Bitcoin as property.
Cool. Yeah. So this one's a little interesting in my opinion. I think India was trying to do something similar, but it was based off their taxes. You pay property tax on your Bitcoin, on your cryptocurrency.
The way that India is doing everything right now is super weird because they can't even have the exchanges. So then they put the Bitcoin ATMs, and then the Bitcoin ATMs weren't working. Right? So the Bitcoin ATM owners were getting sued. It was such a thing. I wish that they would just like stop and just let it happen.
I think it was the Indian central bank that kind of just started the whole ban, and then it just downscales from there, and then the whole thing with the Supreme Court, like, and it's just looking ugly. Like it's just not pleasant. It's I don't know. I feel like it's like kind of not impossible, but like hard turn.
All right, why don't you take this one?
So it looks like Chinese citizens and merchants are legally allowed to own and transfer cryptocurrency. Cool. So I know earlier in the year there was a whole thing with China where they had pretty much put a ban over Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and ICOs in general. Mm-hmm. They had a blanket ban over it. They kind of revised that to
Why
where...
would you ban blankets? Blankets are the best.
Anyways, they kind of revised that to where you were allowed to still have tokens. And India was doing something similar where they still allowed people to like have tokens, but you couldn't go on an ICO because they were dangerous and you couldn't sell them. Yeah, you can't exchange them, and you can't use rupees, whatever. But
if you got them, you can keep them, but you can't do anything.
Right. But anyways, back to China. So I mean, this is a step forward because China was super strict on crypto, and most of the Bitcoin is predominantly owned in this region. So this is kind of,
that's where all that hash power comes from.
Yeah, that's all hash power. But I mean, this is a huge step forward because now if they're making it kind of like property owned, like yeah, it sucks. Like are they gonna do property tax on it? Are they like what are they gonna do with this? But like at least they're starting to like recognize this as an official thing, which is cool. At the same time, like it's a currency. I guess you could put it as a digital asset to some extent, but it's a currency. And I feel I don't want to get lost in the sauce because look, literally as you scroll down, property, not currency. Like I don't want people to get lost in the sauce of like having like, oh, this is like a car. Like it's like, oh, it has this value, but it's like a car. It's not. It's money. And my only fear with this
is gold money.
So it can be exchanged for money. It has a value. It's not like your currency is not going to have a value, but like my only fear is that probably with like if people continue or other countries, let's say, continue kind of this trend, are we going to treat Bitcoin more like gold rather than like something that we use like cash? Is it just going to be like something we have?
I think Bitcoin is going to be like gold.
You think, okay, well, what would be if I was to go to the store and I was to purchase something, and let's say we're in the crypto age and everybody's using crypto, like what am I paying? Because like let's say like Bitcoin's my gold, like we don't touch the gold stays at home. Like when am I immediately exchange it? Like is it Bitcoin Cash?
So in the future, the way that I see Bitcoin and with it being worth like it's going to be worth like so much money in the future, like the Bitcoin itself, the network is slow. It's really not meant to be a currency, honestly. Like it's really not, which is fine because there's been developments like the token within a token, that ERC20
token within a token.
Token that is backed by Bitcoin, right? So let's say Bitcoin is just the settlement layer.
Right.
The same way that banks settle transactions now, where I pay you and it goes through right away as far as like the payment, but the settlement actually happens later.
Mm-hmm.
So in the future, I feel like Bitcoin is going to just be the settlement layer, and then something else is going to be the intermediary, whether it's a fiat, whether it's this, that, whatever it is, something you take physical delivery of, whatever it is that's going to represent those, Bitcoin. It's probably actually not going to be a fiat in the sense of like an actual physical currency.
Okay.
Because it would have to be something immutable as well.
Right.
That would actually be backed. So it's probably going to be another blockchain type thing that's just faster. Like maybe like Ripple could do something like that.
XRP is fast.
I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't be XRP because XRP is doing obviously its own project.
It's a settlement layer in its own thing.
Right.
It's going to be worth so much money so soon. So soon.
XRP.
That's not financial advice or anything like that, but wow, remember the 5th of November, which we're going to get to in a couple seconds here. But yeah, anyway, so this little quote here, basically, I'm sure you've read it by now if you're watching along with us. So the court ruling was on a dispute that involved a business contract in relation to the possession and transfer of digital assets. The defendant in the case argued that the ban from People's Bank of China, PBOC, on crypto trading and ICOs, as well as a lack of venues to trade and transfer digital assets to the plaintiff rendered a contract between the defendant and the plaintiff invalid. So essentially, somebody was supposed to deliver some coins. They were unable to deliver some coins based on some things that were occurring, and they were trying to get that contract dismissed. So the court disagreed.
Right, because it's their stuff, but I mean, instead of putting it as a currency, since it's not a legal currency, they've made it as property.
So because of the various legal definitions for crypto under current Chinese laws and regulations
are unclear.
The arbitrator relied on existing contract law and general provisions of the civil law to determine the contract that is at dispute here. I don't know. Did I read that crazy? Am I tired right now?
Probably. But basically what it's saying is because there's no actual guidelines that tell you how to protect cryptocurrency like your Bitcoin, he took the other route, which was a general route of how to protect anything that's yours, like as property.
Here's what you were saying.
So this is your
earlier.
property?
That part is basically what you were saying earlier.
Kinda. That's what I'm a little afraid of, because you never. I don't want to say I'm afraid of it because I feel like then something else would come of it. But then would it slow down the process of then using this currency in stores and having more stores accept it? Because I mean, there was you had I think it was Expedia that used to accept it and they like withdraw it, and a couple other places accepted and withdraw it, and Square's gonna start adding it to their devices. And that's cool, but if like people just go about this as Bitcoin being property rather than a currency, why would I accept why are you paying with property?
So for the same reason that you would have accepted a US dollar when the US dollar was actually backed by gold, right? So it would take a while, obviously, for the banks to physically move the gold around and physically settle the transactions. So in the intermediary, me and yous of the world would just use the banknotes that said this is worth this much gold and whatever, and it's redeemable for gold. And it would be something that would actually be redeemable for Bitcoin, whatever it was, like the Ethereum token that's pegged 1-to-1, it would just move faster, right? But the Bitcoin itself wouldn't, like it would just stay. You know what I mean? So that way when Bitcoin is like, it works, because like when Bitcoin is worth, so much money or whatever, and then you're literally just trading Satoshis of it, instead of having a value that's like 0.0000 whatever, and like kind of hard to communicate amongst people, they can literally say, okay, like that's 3 whatever the thing is that you're actually trading. I don't know what it would be.
So does that mean we'll be using Bitcoin Cash?
Let's say dollars are eventually backed by Bitcoin, right? Let's say the United States government just buys up a ton of Bitcoin and then backs like dollars by it, but it's not a physical dollar because that could be counterfeited. It's like an ERC-20 dollar or an ERC whatever dollar, right? And then we're trading that, and that's actually backed by Bitcoin. But instead of the decimals being like so small, it makes sense. So like $1 is still worth like
what we would perceive $1 to be worth as. So the numbers are just easier for us to assimilate to. Bitcoin is still worth, like, one Bitcoin is worth 250K or whatever.
Sure.
But then when you get down to those small decimal places, it's just, we break it down to whatever a dollar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes it easier. Because Bitcoin is slow anyway to move around. Like, it's not really that fast to move around as, like, an actual fiat currency is. Like, XRP is fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, 10 seconds is there. But Bitcoin is
4
still,
seconds.
whatever. Bitcoin is still...
Come on, XRP guy. How do you not know?
Bitcoin is still slow to this day. Like, it's not...
It's slow. It takes about 2 hours
It's
or 4.
not fast. It's not that slow. It's like 30 minutes, though. Like, it's not... That's not what fiat currencies are. Right?
I think it was, like, the original settlement time, or for it to get somewhere. I saw this on Ripple's website. It took, like, 2 hours or something like that to do something.
Bitcoin?
Yeah, to do something. And then Ethereum took some other amount of time. And Ripple was the fastest
I
at 4
know
seconds.
someone who the other day... her name was she purchased some Bitcoin from Coinbase and sent it to
it did
Binance.
not take that long.
How long did it take?
I know.
What was how long was it
I
about?
know, but
Maybe
I could literally probably put
20,
this up on
30?
like Ripple's website because I read this. It was under X Rapid, and it was like talking about the transaction times.
Yeah, I mean like 20, 30 seconds with the minutes.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Fine.
No,
Anyways,
I was just curious about that. Just curious.
Maybe it could take. It meant it could take up to, because sometimes you get stuck on the network, and then Coinbase sends out their parents and the children to save the parents.
I mean, if you're not, if you're trying to send a little bit of money and there's not a lot of miners that want to accept your transaction, I mean that's how that works. I don't send no little money.
Anyways, so next on the list, are we gonna talk about our scam?
So, yes, we're gonna talk about Oyster PRL. This project was supposed to be able to store data on the IOTA Tangle. Every time I see KuCoin, I just want to get out of here, KuCoin.
Get out of here, KuCoin. Nobody likes you.
Get out of here.
Who was it that I think I was in a Telegram chat, and then someone was like, oh, you guys come over to KuCoin and and they're like, get out of here. Nope. Man.
So what happened is the backstory to Oyster PRL. They were a decentralized way to store anonymous data on IOTA's Tangle, which sounds really great, but a lot of these things that don't really end up being anything sound really great, and they use all these fancy big words, like the time you did the video with all that corporate jargon. They use all the big fancy words, and they try to get people.
Here at Oyster Pearl, we are determined to make an innovative and quality effective system in order to integrate IOTA into our STEAM cutting-edge technology. Whatever. You get it. That's what they sound like. And this is what you get when you believe it.
So, one of the developers we're going to get into some actual development, software development terms here. I'll break it down as much as I can for you guys. So a dev, aka developer, has deliberately called a function that allowed the creation of new PRL tokens and then immediately sold them on an exchange. So what that means is somebody who was a developer or was posing as a developer, someone who was part of the creation of these coins and was given that sort of back-end responsibility, basically went into the contract, reopened it as if it was the ICO all over again after the price had already gone up. We'll look at PRL on a chart in a second because the price went way up in the past couple of days before this happened. So whoever it was, this was like an actual a hack, right? Unless it was one of the devs, this is why they're saying it really could be an exit scam. So they went in and they basically issued new tokens, and then they bought them all, kind of, quote unquote fair and square for whatever the ICO price was. But since they were obviously worth so much more now, they just went on KuCoin and just dumped them all. And then so obviously the price just tanked.
Yeah, took a poop.
So this here is claiming that it's not yet known whether it is the developer in person or someone else that possesses sensitive information, such as back-end, backdoor type stuff. Oyster Protocol is supposedly saying that they don't have anything to do with it, but I mean, I don't know. So here's what I'm talking about: the smart contract functionalities of the ICO
They suspended
sale were open.
They got suspended. Got a spanking.
Well, I mean, KuCoin had to suspend it after a while. I mean, the damage is already done, though.
Yeah, true.
Let's see here. So, so it went down 60%. Yeah. So basically, they printed 4 million tokens for about $1 million. I don't know. Really, really
so it
shameful.
Went from 23 cents to 0.076. Jeez, that's a dip. That's a lot of money.
So
if you had $1,000 and you were at 0.23 cents and your $1,000 went down to 0.076, you literally just lost your $1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
your $1,000 is now nothing. You have nothing
that represents more than 60%. I mean, we've seen I mean, we've been in the game for a little bit. We've seen 60% tumbles before, but not literally immediately. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was it within a few hours. Hours. I would lose it. I'd lose everything if that. Man, you guys gotta be careful for you investing, because that's nuts. That's nuts. Can you imagine if right now, where Bitcoin is, just dropped another 60%?
No, I wouldn't be able to imagine that. I would.
My heart would fall on my face.
I mean, I would have to get over it. I'm not saying that banks would get robbed. I'm just not saying banks wouldn't get robbed at that point.
No, my heart would fall. I'm pulling out. But I would hope what people would
well, no,
throw
I wouldn't
money
be able
in.
to pull out at that point. It would just stay and just whatever happens at that point. But I mean,
I'd pull out and hope for the best. And if people are throwing in, I'm jumping in. We're just gonna try.
I mean, here's the thing: if you miss the chance to get out all 60% of the way down, and you try to get out at 60%, there's no way.
I would have to get out
halfway, and then it keeps going. You get back in. Good on you. But I would just either just close my eyes and just whatever.
No. If I see it go down 2%, I'm out. I'm out. We're leaving. We gotta get out.
I mean, you gotta have that trailing stop loss to make sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're reporting here that there were no smart contract bugs in Oyster PRL. They passed 3 separate audits. Directorship of the contract had to remain open so that a peg could be adjusted. I don't know exactly what that means. Earlier this morning, directorship was transferred by the original Ethereum address controlled by Bruno Block. I don't know if that's a person or
my name is
Block.
Bruno.
I don't know. Allowing the new director to mint 3 million new PRL. We do not know any reason why this would be done, and we are currently looking into solutions. Exit scam. I don't want to hear it. Exit scam.
Sounds like an exit scam. If you guys had some Oyster, I'm sorry, you got scammed. You got scammed, my friend, because the CEO
from $2 million market cap
AWOL?
to 6.5.
What? You mean 20? $20 million?
So now here's the thing. KuCoin is where 80% of I didn't even consider this. KuCoin is where 80% of the daily volume is, and they've suspended trading, meaning you can't even sell it right now. Meaning that when they open, those people are going to try to get out because the product it's done now.
Right.
So they're going to try to get out, further devaluing. Oh man, this thing is going to the ground.
Nah, it's poop. Sorry, man.
Okay, so supposedly it was their anonymous founder Bruno Block that stands behind this.
Their anonymous founder. Their founder's anonymous? You guys have been you guys list coins that have anonymous people?
So the contract was written by Bruno Block prior to the ICO, at which point Bruno was the only member of the team. They relied on the auditors to make sure that the smart contract was safe. And then Bruno was the only one who had the ability to transfer directorship within the PRL smart contract. So
when you guys read things like this, that literally says, hey, it's the only team member and I'm completely anonymous and nobody knows who I am. Why does this not scream scam? Why does these things not scream scam?
Supposedly he did it right now to avoid the KYC from November 1st. I don't believe that. I can tell you why whoever did it right now. Where's PRL? Let me see if I can pull that up first real quick. No? Oh, man, I can't pull that up.
There's no PRL chart? What?
Let me see what I can do here. Google.
Like half of these people are trying to make a quick buck.
So down by 65%.
It's just a thing. 65.42%. Ooh, look at that.
So if I just get a 7-day, no, 1 day, no, let me get a 1 month maybe. They had a significant, like, there was a really decent run up that they had, this month and the past couple of days. This is a very significant run up they just had over here. And then right before the crash. So literally, I mean, this is like the highest this has been in months. So they've been on a really good run. It's been going up, and then boom, I want my money. I'm out of here. Crazy. This is why you got to be super careful. Super careful. But anyways, I feel like that's probably enough fuddy news for the day. There is some positive stuff that we should be talking about.
Like what?
To kind of end this out. So, if you guys remember, way back in the beginning of October, the SEC said that by the end of October is when they're going to stop taking all the suggestions for everything, and then by November 5th is the deadline where they're going to have to, I guess, look at the applications and make some sort of decisions or speak out about them or something. So we should get news about some sort of Bitcoin ETFs by the 5th of November, which is very interesting as a date. If you remember the 5th of November.
I do remember the 5th of November.
So
just kidding, because we're not there yet.
Very famous quote there. And so let's see here. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing here. Let me see if I can just jump forward to the part
Americans
about the
don't
SEC.
read.
So it says here this was back this article was from the 10th of August. So this is just showing you that this has been a thing. It's not anything really new, but I just wanted to remind everybody that we're ending out October. It was a mixed bag of reviews, some
Mixed
change of sentiment because we're having a lot more positive sentiment towards things, but we're also seeing a lot of fuddy stuff. But then there are coins that are mooning. There's just it's a mixed bag. So anyways, here. This is from the 10th of October here. So rounding out this week in cryptocurrency. Let me see if I can get that a little bit bigger here.
Yep, zoom in.
The SEC announced a November 5th deadline for its decision on 9 Bitcoin ETF applications. The announcement comes as the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission decides to review its August decision just one day after rejecting the 9 Bitcoin ETF applications. So they did reject them, and then Miss Lady, what's her name, was
the crypto mom.
She was saying, "This is crazy. You guys are crazy. We need to review this more."
I like her. She's really cool.
She's like the lady from the SEC, right?
Yeah, she's the commissioner, chair commissioner.
So she's a believer, and so now they're gonna review them again.
SEC's chairman.
And then I don't know if you guys all submitted your proposals or your what's the word for it? Anyways, you could go on the SEC website for a little while and submit like your view as like a citizen of the United States of how you feel about it. So I put my 2 cents in that we're all grown folks, and if we want a Bitcoin ETF, by golly, give us one. So I think we have been live for just under 45 minutes. That's a while. I think we're good there. Was there anything else that you noticed in today? Any other?
No, not necessarily, to be honest. I think we kind of covered most of everything else. I mean, the price fall kind of just took everybody by surprise, of course, of Bitcoin. Ripple, on the other hand,
XRP
looks like
recovering very nicely.
It's been doing some good recovery. Definitely cut that fall that we had by half.
So 6% fall.
We're about halfway there.
Followed by
4%
4% gains.
What? We're halfway there. I'm telling you.
So Ripple is actually gaining, faster than the Bitcoin chart.
Yeah.
So if we look at the Bitcoin chart,
Bitcoin's lagging.
a 3% fall.
Well, I mean, I mean, we have to give it some time because Bitcoin fell last night, and then Ripple fell.
No, same thing. Everything fell at the same time.
Really.
Everything fell at the same time.
Okay. Well, I guess not.
It's just that as far as like going back up, Ripple is going back up a little bit faster, a little bit more
It's
aggressively.
expected.
I'll say.
I would expect Ripple to go up faster just because.
Let's say, for example, you would have caught this one or this one. I mean, these aren't bad gains if you would have pulled out and got back in right there. That's not bad. Now, unfortunately, I was not listening to my 15-minute chart last night when I should have gotten out. Or last night or the other day or whenever this was. I think we were actually like live streaming or about to live stream or.
Yes, no, we had just finished live streaming. That's what we were doing, and it fell. We were in the middle of live stream and it fell.
I think it was going down, and then I took a nap or I went to sleep or whatever, and then it just kept going, and then I just took the day off when it was good because I didn't have weekends to get shaken out and back up a little bit, so that's fine. I'll take a little, 3-4% drop, whatever that is, 2%, whatever that is, I'll take it. That's no big deal. Anyways, that's the show. Gonna go ahead and take us back to our main scene here so we can exit gracefully. There we are. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Bits and Tokens. I guess I'll do our intro as usual. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Make sure you watch the news and stay educated because if you don't know what's going on, then you're going to end up losing out. I'll see you guys next time on Bits and Tokens.